In the following video, we will explain how we create the quote selection, and we will then utilize the responses that we've used to select the specific quote that we will use to generate an order with. So to do so, we'll first navigate back to the quote request response by clicking on purchasing in the left list. We will scroll down to quote request and select quote request response. So we will copy our quote response number. Now we can go back to the navigate, so click on close page. In the quote request section, we'll see quote selection. Select quote selection. So to look for a specific quote response, we can enter the number and search for it. Now we have selected our quote request response. So now we need to basically select within the lines grid what supplier am I going to go with. So a brief explanation: we've got our header section as to the requester, the quote request response creator, the selection creator. We've got the site who this quote is for. We've got a specific quote number. We've got a date. And we can see that our status is selection created. In the line section, we've got the details. So we see that on line 1, we've got our BPs. On the second line, we've got the name of these BPs. On the fifth line, we'll see that we've got the expected delivery date, the supplier quantities, as well as the lead times. Now, as you can see, that there will be different colors on your product lines. For instance, the supplier and lead times there will be a variance of 3 different colors: red, black, or green. The color red means that the supplier will tend to offer you the highest value of quote, which means that the quote is the most expensive, even though they can offer it to you at a faster lead time than the other supplier. The green means that it's the best price per unit, even though their lead time is maybe longer than the other suppliers. And then if we see one that is black, it means that it's kind of an in-betweener. So if you had 3 suppliers, one of those suppliers' details would have been in black, either the quantity or the quote price or the lead time, which means that it's intermediate between either the best or the worst supplier. So to select the specific supplier that we are going to go for, so in this example we see supplier 2, his pricing is in green, which means it's the better price to go for. So if I want to select this supplier, in the supplier column we'll see the BP code and we'll see the action button. When we click on the action button, a little pop-up menu comes that says select supplier. When we click on select supplier, we'll see that the color changes from green to black, and that the save button in the right list is now available. So this means that I have now selected this specific supplier. If I had a quote on more than one line, we can select different suppliers for different products who we want to create orders from. So we can have multiple selections of suppliers. To do this, what we can do is, you'll see next in the supplier columns by the price, if we click on this action button, we've got a select product. So if you had multiple lines, you can then use the select product for different suppliers, and when we generate the order, it'll create an order for each individual supplier for the specific products that you select. So for this example, we will select this supplier and we will click on save. A little pop-up message in the top will tell us that record has been modified. We'll also see that the submit button has become active. So now we can click on this submit button to approve that we are happy with the quote that we have selected. At this stage, we can still select a different supplier if we wanted to. So we can click on the selection button, click on unselect supplier, we can look at the other supplier, we can select it, and we can click on save. The record will still be modified, and we can still select on submit. So we can click on submit, and now we can see that the status has changed to selection fully approved, which means we are happy with what we have selected and which supplier we want to create a PO from. In the right list, we'll see that there is a button that says create PO. Once we select this button, it generates a purchase order for us for the specific supplier we have selected and the specific product. So when we click on create PO, a little log file reading will come up, which tells us the product is not referenced for the supplier, which is fine. That's just because of the supplier not referenced on the product code. But we'll see creation of. There is our purchase order number that has been created. So we can either copy the product code or the purchase order code. We can click on close page. Or if we want to drill into the actual order from the screen, in the right list we've got the order button. When we click on order, the entry transactions pop up. Because this is local purchasing, we'll select the all supervisor, and this takes us to our specific purchase order that has now been created from the quote for that specific supplier. So we can see there's the supplier 2 that we selected. It's for our order site. If we look at lines, we've got our specific product for 50 units for the specific unit price. Their accounting information is defaulted. So now we have placed the order to the supplier, and then the following step will be is when the supplier has gone through the order, they'll basically deliver the stock to us where we can receive the stock. So to go back to the navigation page, we can click on close page. It'll take us back to the quote selection as we drilled to the order from the screen. We can click on close page again, and this will take us to the navigation screen.